The roads of Rochdale see a lot of Martine Sinker, and so do the town's head teachers.
Sometimes I do feel like a travelling saleswoman, but I do feel it's important to get into schools, otherwise we don't know what people want and what people need.
Martine, a former head teacher, pounds her beat on behalf of a charitable trust set up in 2001 to be a one-stop shop for all the CPD needs of staff in Rochdale's schools. It's an unusual and possibly unique model. REAL, or the Rochdale Educational and Learning Trust, has persuaded every school in the town to hand over its entire training budget.
The way it works is that schools and services subscribe an amount which will entitle them to a full year's professional development for all their staff, which includes the caretaker, it includes the cleaners, it includes the governors, it includes everybody. For a small primary, it would be about 700 or 800. My school was about 430 pupils, so that was about 1,300. And a large secondary would be almost 3,000.
Hopwood Primary, Martine's destination today, gives REAL around £1,500 a year. In return, Martine consults head teacher Jill Sarginson to identify the school's training needs, and then provides them from one centralised place.
And the assessment for learning that we've been doing for the last 3 or 4 years, I'd like to maintain that as a background focus and our priorities for next year, because due to staff mobility and things, we really need to maintain our work on that.
Yeah, in fact, we're working with School Improvement Service. We're going to be liaising with Gateshead, who've got some really good practice, and we're going to invite the schools that have done a lot of work on this, like yourself, to be part of that network.
The REAL Trust provides conferences and courses, inset days, networking opportunities, and the chance to study schools abroad. One flagship programme is called the Treasury of Best Practice. It's like a bank where customers, the schools, can withdraw good ideas.
It started when I was a head teacher, and some of my staff were struggling with the idea of the literacy hour. I sent them to another similar school who had good practice, and they came back saying, well, why didn't you say that was what you wanted? So it's just a means of schools and services saying, this is what we do well, this is how we do it, and this is how we would like to share it.
Alderhill School is identified in the Treasury as having leading practice in the performing arts.
Treasury is available to everybody. So instead of having to perhaps pay for expensive courses from people who have no relationship with the schools or even Rochdale LEA, we can go to the Treasury and find within the borough, within Rochdale itself, somebody who has an expertise or a skill that we're looking for.
Bamford Primary School have done just that. Primary school teachers can find music a difficult subject, so Janet's offering some ideas.
So we're going to be a listener and a performer first, and we're going to move to being a composer. The new thing today, though, is that you've got an instrument. I'm going to allow you at last, I know, to use an instrument. I know it's a first, and I've thought long and hard about it, and I wondered if you did deserve it or not, but I've just made the decision that yes, you can. Okay. First of all, let's do our warm-up. Easy to start off with, then harder and harder and harder. Okay? I have been working with the Bamford staff and training them to feel comfortable with teaching music education, because this is quite an alien thing for many non-specialist primary educators to work with. Okay, are you ready? Here we go.
As well as running inset sessions for the staff, Janet's been working with the pupils of Bamford.
I'm going to use long, short and timbre. OK? What about this? What have I done? Not lower, but...
Well, the sound is a lot louder.
Good, so I've used loud and quiet, haven't I? This is twice the listening skill, twice. And it's twice the performing skill. Are you ready? Let's see if you can.
Janet's done 2 insets with us, coming into the staff, done some music sessions, talked about how to teach children to listen, compose and perform, and gave us the relevant skills that we need to do it ourselves. From today's session with Janet, I'm going to take away the fact that you can still do the element of performing and composing. It doesn't have to be just focusing on one strand. Right, you tell me, you clap it for me. Let me have a listen.
Yes, you can. And if you want to, you can start adding timbre. Now, that would be fantastic.
Leading by example and good practice is always much better than going on a course.
Bamford's subscription to the Real Trust this year has been around £1,800. So has it been good value for money?
Well, I wanted to focus on music here, and so we were able to do that through the expertise of the other people in other schools, but also because it was facilitated by the Real Trust. I've had all my whole staff trained in music. That would have cost a fortune to send them on individual courses. I think if you'd actually get it delivered within school, or everybody's hearing the same message at the same time, then you can be sure that everybody's got the message that you wanted them to get. Not every child's academic. Some children have got a talent in music, some have got a flair for performing, and I think it's up to the school to actually bring out the potential in every child, whether it's academic or not.
I think music lessons have become more fun, especially because we're getting to use the instruments instead of just learning about them.
We do rhythm patterns and clapping, and sometimes we do songs from the whiteboard, interactive whiteboard.
Music lessons are really fun and exciting because we do different things every week.
It's sometimes forgotten that all school staff can benefit from CPD. At Hopwood Primary School, lunchtime supervisors took part in the Expert Trail, another resource offered by the Real Trust.
The Expert Trail is a personalised learning programme that is skills and competency based. It's not a rigid set of steps to achieve. It's actually quite flexible and is in a personal learning journey. We use it in school for professional development, though it's a tool that encompasses the whole of professional development, school improvement and self-evaluation. The whole school community is involved in the Expert Trail, and that everybody has their own personal trail. That includes teachers, support staff, administration staff as well.
The Expert Trail is a system for staff appraisal, which identifies individual strengths and encourages a bottom-up approach to change. So in this case, 2 lunchtime supervisors wanted to improve what was on offer to children, and using the Expert Trail empowered them to take the lead.
The school dinner time obviously is a really important part of the school day. It sets the culture and the learning atmosphere for the afternoon. Jackie and Marie in September had dual roles. They were teaching assistants and lunchtime supervisors. And part of the school improvement plan this year was to look at the arrangements for lunchtimes. And I asked them both, as part of their Expert Trail, to actually look at those arrangements and make some changes that would be better for the children.
So are you going to have tuna with a jacket potato?
They worked with the administration staff, they worked with teachers, and they worked with the dinner ladies to come up with a new plan. The plan has involved changing the number of sittings that we have and also setting up lunchtime activity clubs. Whilst the actual arrangements, I suppose, are not completely radical, and what they've done, I'm sure other schools are doing equally as well, the significance of it is that it's being led and managed by Jackie and Marie, who, as lunchtime supervisors, they've been able to do it, if you like, from the shop floor, so to speak. So it's been far better that it's come from them rather than from myself.
They test the cars, don't they, and race round tracks really fast.
Yeah.
Don't like Top Gear, really. They drive too fast. The Expert Trail has given us the guidance to help us to come up with these new plans. It's given us more confidence. If we were asked to do something like this again, we would feel confident enough. I think we do work very well together. We bounce ideas off each other and we work well together. We've come up with a very good lunchtime plan.
The children are a lot better in the yard now because they've got lots more space to play in, because we take quite a lot of children to the clubs so they can have the races without getting in each other's way. And it's really nice because the children are following you around the school saying, "Miss, are the clubs on today?" So it's really nice, isn't it?
Yeah, there are children a lot happier. Discipline has improved at lunchtimes.
The reason that we set up the trust was to establish a company, limited by guarantee, and a charitable trust that would sit within the local authority, but the autonomy and the priority setting for the direction of the real trust would lie with the schools. So in a nutshell, it's bottom up.
But isn't setting up a company on a semi-commercial basis gambling with precious school funds?
It's about taking the risk, ensuring that there's synergy with a company and charitable trust that sits within a local authority, and to ensure that we continually, one step ahead really, because if we're not, we have a massive indicator in so much as schools don't subscribe. If they don't subscribe, we don't have a company.
You don't have to buy into the real trust, but it's a quality service that buys in keynote speakers and facilitates a lot of quality training. And so to actually try and find that provision yourself, I think would be extremely difficult to do.
It's very important that the schools all buy in, and they all do. As they all buy in, we now have a collaborative, pooled budget in which we can do much more than you would do if you just had one budget from a school. It's very, very important to us that we ensure that we don't stay still. So as new things come on stream, we're able to draw on a large group of facilitators, both within the local authority, outside of the local authority, internationally as well, and provide a much fuller programme of CPD.
The only disadvantage is that you can bring a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. So we're out there, but we can't go where we're not been asked to go.
For little fingers. It is still the case that many authorities impose courses or units of work on staff. The big difference with the Real Trust is it comes from the grassroots, so we identify what we think is needed and therefore it's much more targeted.
I'm quite passionate about this. I really believe that we should trust the teachers as professional, heads and service leaders as professionals, and people know what it is they need to do.
The head teachers in the schools actually have control of the Real Trust and have a lot of say on what actually goes on, what courses are provided, what network learning. We have a creative group that meets with the directors of the Real Trust and actually says what they want to see on the programme, and it does materialise.
People are your biggest resource, and that you could have the best stocked library, the best ICT suites, but unless the people who are using those, who have to teach with those resources, if they're undervalued, or if they're not trained, then you may as well open the grid and pour your money down the drain.